This is Jerry Silva with Fats Grill and Sugar House. You are listening to I Am Salt Lake Podcast. Enjoy.
What's up, Salt Lake City? Welcome to episode number 19 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I am your host, Chris Hollifield, and I'm going to be your guide here from episode to episode, showcasing each and every person and professional and band and anybody and everybody who is making Salt Lake City just a little bit better to live in. So thank you very much. If this is your first time joining in, I want to personally thank you for downloading the episode if that's what you did, or if you're streaming it online at iamsaltlake.com. Feel free to listen to every episode of the podcast and tell me what you think, and drop me an email at iamsaltlake@gmail.com. Your emails and your feedback is what keeps me going. Seriously, if only you knew how important each email is to me. It's really, really cool. The feedback, the responsiveness, the people in the Salt Lake City area, you have really been awesome with this podcast. When I thought it up here this last summer, it was kind of just this pipe dream. It was just this idea in my head. It was just this thing, and I didn't really know what I would create, and you've shown me that Salt Lake City truly needed a podcast like this, so thank you very much. Those of you outside of Utah that have sent your feedback as well, thank you very much. Your feedback has been really, really awesome. So anyways, hit that feedback button at iamsaltlake.com. Let me know what you think of the podcast. Leave a review on iTunes, and share it with a friend. That's all I can ask. That's some great support. And oh yeah, if you find it in you to kick over $1 or $2, hit that donate button at the iamsaltlake.com website. Kind of helps with the hosting fees and any travel expenses that I might accrue while doing this podcast. So anyway, speaking of traveling, in this episode of the podcast, I had an opportunity to travel to Dessert Bites, their kitchen here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I took a little day field trip and sat down with Lisa and Travis over at Dessert Bites in their kitchen, and found out a little bit about their story, what you can expect with Dessert Bites, how they started, different challenges, and just really got to know them. So I appreciate them taking a little bit of time out of their busy schedule. I do want to let you know that the conversation does get a little bit noisy in the background, but hey, I was invading their kitchen, and they had to get some work done. So it's still a really good conversation regardless. So without much rambling on any further, I want to jump right into the conversation that I had with Lisa and Travis over at Dessert Bites. Thank you for listening to the I Am Salt Lake podcast. We're here with Lisa and Travis, right, from Dessert Bites, in their kitchen, where they make some of the most fantastic looking dessert edibles that I've ever seen. Pretty much, before I get into, I'm going to taste these here in just a second. Give me a little bit of a history on how Dessert Bites happened and the idea. I mean, what?
So I've always loved baking, and one day I just said I would really be happy to be able to bake for other people.
Yeah.
It brings people such joy, and at the same time, I also was very interested in individual or bite-sized portions, because I can bake a whole cake, but people feel pressured to eat a whole cake, and it's only good for a few days. So I didn't want something so large for people, so I wanted to do only things that were individually portioned, so you can have however much or little you want. If you want to eat a whole cake, You can have a few of our individual sized, or you can have just one if that's just what you want. And so we started with bite-sized portions and then moved up to individual-sized portions.
Excellent. And so how long ago did you say? I might have missed it. Sorry,
That That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Right.
And so how many different dessert items? These are these your items that you have here? Tell me some of the items on your menu.
So we make French macarons.
Okay.
And we have a variety of different flavors. And we make a variety of different flavors of brownies as well.
And that's these items here that I'm looking at.
Yes.
Which actually, I'm going to try these first, since
Okay.
that's what we're talking about, the brownies. And
we make something called a sin cake, which is this just incredibly intense, rich, decadent. It's individual size. It's only a 3-inch cake, but it's enough for 2 people.
excellent.
It's just that rich.
And I just took a bite of this brownie, and let me tell you what, it is excellent. Wow.
Thank you.
So, what would you say some of the things that set you apart from maybe some different dessert stuff that maybe just your regular commercial? I mean, just
Well, one of the main things is we have children, and we really want to be able to serve these foods to our children. So we decided nothing artificial goes in them. No preservatives, no artificial colors. We do have colored French macarons also, but we only use all natural food colors that are plant-based. So that way we're not putting anything that's not okay in the kids. We also are very focused on supporting our local economy. So whenever it's possible, we'll use local ingredients. We'll buy from local businesses. For example, whatever chocolate we use is Mill Creek Cacao Roasters chocolate. And they do bean to bar here in Salt Lake. And fair trade, that's another thing that's important. If we can, we want to treat others the way that we would like to be treated. So if we can use fair trade, we do. If we can use organic, we do. For example, our vanilla beans, things like that. We try to keep it local, organic.
no, and that's one thing I've noticed with what you guys do, and that's really attracted me to wanting to sit down and talk with you, is your desire to use local ingredients, which I've talked to a few people that they say, using local, it gets a little more costly. And do you find that true with what you do as well? I mean, that it can get a little more expensive to do something, with local, or?
Some things are more expensive, but we use top quality products, and this top quality chocolate really is very, very minimally more expensive than the Italian chocolate we had used in the past.
Yeah.
It's a tiny bit more expensive, but we think the benefit's there. It's also, there's value to be had from knowing the people who provide your ingredients to you. I can call Mark and Dana who make the chocolate and say, hey, I have a special need or I have a special order, and they're right there for me. They support us. With our fruits, excuse me, we know all of our fruit growers first name basis with everyone who grows our fruits for all our various fruit desserts. So, we know exactly what they're doing to the fruit, what they're putting in it, where it's grown. I can go out to the orchards or the gardens at any time I want to and meet with them and look at their processes. They're completely open and transparent about it, and we like that. So there is sometimes a little bit of a cost increase, but it's worth it.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think it's absolutely worth it to support local. Where do you guys sell? So you guys sell at the Park City Market, correct? And then I noticed on your website you said Sugar House
The
Farmers.
Sugar House Farmers Market. We also, our stuff is available at the market at Park City. Used to be Dan's Market, and now it's the market at Park City.
Okay.
We're also at Malolo Gardens over across the street from Pioneer Park on
Next, Fourth South maybe? It's
Fourth
right
South.
next door to Tin Angel.
Okay.
Right next door to Tin Angel there.
And that's okay. So people in Salt Lake can go there and get your product.
And mostly we do special orders,
Okay.
catering, delivery, special events. We do farmers markets, holiday boutiques, things like that. Over this winter, we will be at the downtown farmers markets. They're doing a pop-up market once a month.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We'll be at all of those. We'll be at the Park City Christmas Market, and we're also working on a couple other permanent distribution places in Salt Lake that hopefully we'll be announcing soon.
Excellent. And we mentioned too before we started interviewing that you were at Craft Lake City. Actually, you were in.
Yes.
What was cool about it is you were actually in the booth right next to my wife
Yes.
with Sorry Clementine. So that was really cool. And I remember. Actually, I want to try. What's for those that can't see? What's this? This is what is this one called? This dessert that I'm going to be trying here.
That's a chocolate French macaron with a California Merlot filling.
Wow, this. It looks ridiculously good.
It's very chocolatey. It's got the essence of the wine flavor in there, and just a nice rich dessert. We do about 25 flavors of the macarons, and that's my favorite. So
Oh, that is delicious. I'm gonna have to definitely find you guys now and get more of those. That is to die for. So, wow. Sorry. Anyways, what advice would you give somebody that, say, wanted to start a business? Maybe some challenges that you face, that maybe some advice that you would give to somebody that maybe wanted to start a business.
You know, honestly, the biggest thing I learned is to get to know the people in your market and make friends.
Yeah.
We do a lot of events here, and there are the people who overlap with our market space, and you know, it's easy to look at that and say, oh, competition, we don't want to deal with that or be antagonistical about it. But I have found that the community is very collaborative. We learn from each other, we share information, we share resources, and basically get to know people in the market and work together.
I think one thing that was a struggle for us that we learned was to stick with what you believe in.
Yeah.
And what you're really about. We make high-end gourmet desserts using the absolute best quality ingredients that we can find, because we want, if you're only going to eat one of our French macarons, we want it to be 100% worth it. We want every calorie to be one that you wouldn't want to give up because it's not as good. And so we found that instead of trying to change what we are too much just for a sale, the most important thing is to say, what we make is what we make,
and you'll attract people along the way.
And we found that by sticking to it, we found more people along the way who really appreciated what we make instead of trying to change to what everyone else already does.
Yeah.
Just to get a sale.
Absolutely. What motivates you to do? I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to do this. I mean, what motivates you to get up every morning and get to the kitchen and bake or cook or whatever?
Why don't you talk about your experience at the Shot of Chocolate party and how motivating and moralizing that was for you?
It's
with the people and the charity.
It's a fun lifestyle, and the people who are really into gourmet desserts are some of the most fun, energetic, interesting people. I like our customer base. I've met some really great people.
And I mean, that was very moralizing for you to experience the people and experience people enjoying the product. That was very moralizing, and being able to support charities as well. Like I mentioned, the Shot of Chocolate party we just did about a week ago.
And now what was this party you did? It was
by mychocolatepieces.com.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Shot of Chocolate party
Okay,
she
yeah.
had to provide vaccinations for youth in areas where chocolate's grown. That was
Yeah. Now, do you guys do other? I mean, like, say somebody wanted to come to you to make a cake or something. I mean, do you guys do any like special requests like that? Or?
We are pretty much a full-range dessert provider.
Okay.
As long as it's a gourmet top-end type dessert. We don't do like normal bakery items like breads and muffins and stuff, but desserts, we've turned away very few things.
Yeah.
And we don't do formal wedding cakes. That's just an area that doesn't interest me, honestly. The precision of the decorating doesn't interest me. I'm more into the flavor. But like we had a customer last year who wanted a very specific type of Hungarian tart, and we were able to work together, come up with what they were looking for, and make that for them. So anything that's really tasty and great, we'll make it.
Now, do you do anything like gluten-free or any kind of like specialties with that? Or
It's obviously a big deal in the dessert industry.
Yeah.
A lot of media about it and everything. Some of our products are gluten-free, but they're incidentally gluten-free. We don't pursue the gluten-free marketplace. Like
Yeah.
the macaroons, for example. The classic recipe for those uses an almond flour, and so that's what we use. Those are gluten-free. However, we share a kitchen with a couple of caterers, and we can't guarantee that our workspace is gluten-free. So we don't really push that angle very much. We're more quality chocolate and great flavor.
Right. So, like he mentioned, the French macarons are gluten-free. Our sink cake is gluten-free also. And it's not that we don't clean up in between. Our workspace is very clean, but it could be something in the air or something like that. We just want to be very careful. It's not a dedicated kitchen is what it comes down to, which is why we don't say, oh, this is gluten-free, you're okay with it. With that said, we've had people who have celiacs who have said, you know what, I really want your sink cake. And this was one particular person, he said, and I know that you said there could be gluten in it, and I'm willing to try it just because it looks so good.
Yeah.
And then he came back, I think, a couple hours later and said, there's no gluten in your sink cake because I'm having no reaction whatsoever. And we said, well, that's great to know, but we don't want to risk people's health by saying it's gluten-free when we can't guarantee it, and we're not testing how many parts per million could be in it.
Yeah.
And so we try to be careful with it.
Now, have you guys both lived in the Salt Lake area very long, or I mean, your whole lives, or?
Oh, we've been here about 10 years.
About 10 years. What do you think overall of Salt Lake City? I mean, it's definitely progressed a lot and changed.
Absolutely. I'm an outdoors person. And so having the mountains, I can get in my car from here in the kitchen and be up in the mountains in 15 minutes. And summer or winter, I think that's great.
Yeah.
So Salt Lake has changed a lot in 10 years, and the food scene is amazing here.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
I mean, it's just growing, and we have so many amazing places. Like I said, we have kids, so we don't get out to as many restaurants as we would like, but we just have this huge list of all these places, all these restaurants to go to that are, I mean, I know they're world class, and how fortunate are we? And the producers we know that are world class. Mill Creek Cacao Roasters chocolate, I can name tons that we just think are amazing, who we really love. So in terms of the food scene, it's great.
So what brought you to Salt Lake then? I mean, 10 years ago you came to Salt Lake. What brought you to Salt Lake?
Well, I've always lived in the West, and she met me and came out here to be with me, and because of the job I was doing at the time, I needed to be by a major airport. And so Salt Lake has a nice blend of major airport, outdoor recreation.
Absolutely.
Kind of a city without being too overwhelmingly city-ish,
Yeah. No, I always like to hear people's stories kind of what brought you to Salt Lake, because it's definitely a city I've noticed there's a lot of people here from all over. There's a lot of people that were born and raised here, but you also find a majority of the people have migrated here, and it's always interesting to find out why, but then they fall in love with it, and everybody kind of has this special bond with Salt Lake. It's weird like that. Now, I wanted to touch briefly. I really like your packaging that you. Where is that from a local place too, or where do you get your packaging done?
Unfortunately, it's not. We couldn't find a local producer that had one that fit these particular macarons, without us being willing to buy like 100,000 at a time.
Yeah.
So we had to go with a Midwest company. We really like them because they use natural inks. Yeah. So there's no chemical things going on there, and all materials are either recycled or recyclable or both. No,
it's really cool. It fits your product well. Now, which macaron is this one here?
That is chocolate.
Just chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate with more chocolate.
Chocolate. You really get the essence of the chocolate that we use in that too.
And for those of you listening, I'm taking a bite of it. It's delicious. Wow. So, I'm sure you've gotten mostly positive feedback, right, regarding your desserts. I mean, where do you see yourself going with this? I mean, would you eventually like to have a brick and mortar store?
We go back and forth on that daily, to be honest.
Yeah.
On one hand, we like the idea of having it in a variety of distribution stores. Malolo Gardens, we're going to be there soon. The market, I would like to be in other retail locations. At the same time, it sounds a lot of fun to have a brick and mortar store. That takes a lot of hours every day to be open that many hours and on weekends. And with our children being young, we're not sure about the timing of having family time and that. And how do you
manage that though? I mean, to manage family time and business time and.
Well,
Or is that tough? I mean, I know how it is. I mean, like I said, my wife does the same thing. It's hard to figure out times.
Like
and
most people trying to start the business, we alternate not sleeping.
Yeah.
but I think a brick and mortar store right now would make that more difficult.
Yeah.
Because we'd have to be open 6 days a week. Eventually, that might be really fun to go there when we get big enough, and it would provide our customers a place to come and meet us, which is something that we found that they really like, is being able to meet the person who produces the food, just like we like meeting the farmers who grow the produce. So it lingers off and on for us on a daily basis. Well, should we? And maybe not. We've talked about a food cart, maybe one day a week, just bringing it somewhere so people can meet us and we can be found a specific place during the off season. We're just not sure where we're going with that right now. Right now, we're focused on stores.
So when you're not making desserts and you're not busy in the kitchen and you're not busy selling, what are some other hobbies and interests of yours that you have?
Well, we had a snowball fight today.
I mean, has this snow been ridiculous? I think we got more snow today than we have
Than last year.
like all
Yeah.
last year.
Yep.
Love it.
Or well, not today, the last couple days combined, but I mean,
Yeah,
what?
it's beautiful. We like I said, we have 5-year-old twins, so we spend a lot of time playing with them when we're not working.
Wow, twins! That
Yeah.
probably keeps your hands full right there.
Absolutely. They're fun.
Does. Yeah, so yeah, we go all kinds of, and that's something to really love about Salt Lake that
Yeah.
I never experienced or saw anywhere else that I ever lived, was the variety of family-friendly things
Yeah.
to do. I mean, we have memberships in so many places all around the valley to go with the kids. You know, the zoo and the aquarium and the treehouse up in Ogden, but then, Thanksgiving Point, and I mean, we just, so many family activities. So really, when we have downtime, we do family activities. During the summers, we sometimes go hiking up in the canyons with the kids.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I mean, these treats are to die for, seriously, and I cannot recommend. Now, how can people find you? I mean, you're on Facebook, and you have your website. What's your website? I know I have it, and I'll list it on the IamSaltLake.com website.
Our website's utahdesertbites.com,
Okay,
and our Facebook is Dessert Bites.
Dessert Bites. And
And we're on Twitter.
You're on Twitter. That's great. And I mean, what's the best way for people to contact you? I mean, just email or
Whatever
any.
they like. All of our corporate email and phones and everything route to our cell phones. So if they want to call, they can call. If they want to email, they can email. It doesn't matter.
I check our Facebook at least daily, as well as our Twitter.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, let's actually touch on that really quick. I notice a lot of businesses, especially local businesses, don't take advantage of like Facebook and Twitter. Do you think that's helpful as a business to be on those sites? I mean,
Not having a brick and mortar location has been huge for us. She actually does most of our social networking. So let her talk
I mean,
about that.
they're a free service, so it's like, why not take advantage of it?
Well, yeah, it's been helpful. It's kept people. I haven't gotten a lot of. I don't always get as much responsivity on it, but I find that people check it, what we post about where we're going to be, what our specials are, especially during farmers market season, where we just say, oh, let's make this, and throw something together that's not typical for us. And people come to the farmers markets knowing what we want, but I don't get any comments about it on the social media that I make the announcement. So I find that people are really checking up, even though they're not interacting all the time.
Yeah.
And it's been really helpful for that, because sometimes people have decided to just go see us at a farmer's market or something, because like last summer we did a lot of creme brulee, and people were so excited to have creme brulee. So that's where I found that. In terms of other things with social media, I've made friendships.
Yeah.
And that's been really fun for me personally, not related to the business at all, but I just meet people and.
Well, look at even how
enjoyable.
we've connected
Yes.
here. Granted, I mean, I might have run into you at another market again, but by having Facebook and Twitter and everything, it helps us connect. And that's even kind of what I want to happen with what I'm doing with the podcast is for people to, hey, these are just normal people like me they just happen to, have a business making desserts and treats, and hopefully even reach out to you a little bit, whether it's for buying desserts and treats, finding out where you're at, the next event you're at, or asking for advice or, whatnot. Because I know how it is when you're starting a new project where you don't know where to go, and you think, well, they don't want to talk to me, or they don't want to email, but it's been great sitting down and talking with you guys and finding out a little bit about. I'm going to definitely enjoy the rest of these treats, and I appreciate it. Was there anything else you wanted to add that maybe we didn't touch on, that anything that I'm unaware of that's coming out in the future with you guys?
Well, for the future, again, we're working on some more retail locations in the Salt Lake area, but right now our biggest thing is we're very close to announcing an online ordering system, so people can go and place orders online and we'll fill them for them. Other than that, we will be doing the winter
So
market.
if there's like let's say a store's listening or something and want to get in touch, I mean, I'm sure you guys are definitely be interested in that as well. If there's a local store or
Love it.
somewhere,
Always willing to talk possibilities.
talk possibilities.
That'd be great.
And so and you talked about some of the events that you got coming on in the beginning. So you got the pop-up markets, Park Silly. Thank you very much, Travis and Lisa over at Dessert Bites, for sitting down with me. Thank you very much, the listener, for taking some time out of your day and listening to our conversation. Feel free to connect with them on Facebook and Twitter. I'm going to post those links up at the iamsaltlake.com website. It's iamsaltlake.com/episode number 19. That's with Dessert Bites. And I want to thank Christian Coleman and the Blues End Band for providing the music for this podcast and the previous episodes of the podcast. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to try to get them on here in December and have a conversation with Christian, find out a little bit more about the band, and let him tell his story a little bit. And so keep your eyes out for that. I will be back Sunday with a new episode. I got a bunch of really fun conversations that I've been having, so I'm going to be here Sunday and Wednesday showcasing some really cool individuals and professionals here in Salt Lake City. Remember, drop us an email. Tell me if you want to be a guest on the show. Leave us a review on iTunes. You guys have a wonderful day. IamSaltLake.com. That's going to connect with us on the internet, and we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks a lot, Salt Lake City.